Watch 50, same 50 did not win Best New Artist at the Grammys.
There was nothing bigger than 50.
Nothing bigger, and nobody came out the gate like that. My first album didn't do it. I never saw someone's first album and the wave happen like he had.
So they don't give you the trophies. I got the checks. I didn't get the trophies. Jay got all of my trophies, man, because he signed that contract.
What contract?
The one with Beyonce.
When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. He started getting Grammys left and right, man.
The kids even have Grammys. Like they don't sing yet. They don't sing. Right. They don't rap yet.
Come on, and he ain't show up. He got like 20 now.
New York and the wider hip-hop scene witnessed the legendary beef between 50 Cent and Jay Z, but what a lot of people don't realize is that Eminem might have gotten involved too. See, 50 and M aren't just label mates, they're like brothers in the rap game.
Yo, Fifth, first off, I want to say happy birthday. Secondly, I want to remind you of the verse you did that made me want to quit rapping. Picture a perfect picture, picture me in a pimp hat.
Eminem to me is what Dr. Dre is to Eminem.
Yeah.
So to disrespect him in any way is just you out of pocket.
And both of them are known for being savage with their words. Whether they're doing it solo or teaming up, they don't hold back. So it's no surprise that Jay Z ended up catching some heat from both of them. Eminem and Jay Z. Now 50's always been vocal about messing with Jay Z. That's nothing new, but Eminem moves differently. He's way more subtle with his shots. Take 2024 for example. When M dropped Toby, one of the tracks from his album The Death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace, fans started speculating that he was throwing jabs at Jay Z. The lyrics that got people talking were, "Ain't feeling your top 5 favorite rappers, so I know they about to be pissed at me, but this to me is a mystery. How rappers I've already ripped could be higher up on a list than me.
How rappers I've already ripped could be higher up on a list than me."
Now rewind to 2023 when Billboard and Vibe put out their list of the top 50 greatest rappers of all time. Jay Z was ranked number 1, followed by Kendrick Lamar, Nas, Tupac, and Eminem at number 5. So naturally, people started connecting the dots, especially since M had worked with most of the guys ahead of him. He did Renegade with Jay Z, Love Game with Kendrick, and EPMD 2 with Nas. And while he never did a song with Tupac, he did produce an entire posthumous album for him, Renegade. But folks couldn't help but feel like that line in Toby was aimed at Jay specifically, especially with a history between them. Let's go back to 2001, when Jay Z dropped his 6th studio album, The Blueprint. That album was huge. It launched the careers of producers like Kanye West and Just Blaze, and unlike Jay's previous albums, only one rapper was featured on it, Eminem.
Make some noise for Eminem one time tonight, y'all!
M not only rapped on the track Renegade, but he produced it too.
Ain't no politician, but I'll kick it with him a minute, cause see they call me a menace.
When the song dropped, people were quick to say that M outshined Jay on his own track. That sparked a whole lot of debate in the hip-hop world. Even though Renegade was never released as an official single, it made waves. The album came out on September 11, 2001, the same day as the 9/11 attacks, so it kinda got overshadowed. But at the time, Eminem was on fire, fresh off the massive success of the Marshall Mathers LP in 2000. So having him on Jay's album was a big deal. But despite being featured on Jay-Z's album, Renegade didn't originally belong to Jay. The track actually started out as a collaboration between Eminem and his longtime friend Royce da 5'9". At the time, M was steadily building up his production credits, and they recorded Renegade for Royce's debut album, Rock City. They also did another track together called Rock City, where Eminem handled the hook. Now, M's label only allowed him to be featured on one track for Royce's album, and they ended up going with Rock City instead of Renegade, thinking it had a better shot at being a single. Around that time, Jay Z had been asking M for a feature for his album, The Blueprint, and M wasn't about to let that opportunity slide.
Yeah, it was originally my song. Me and Marshall was recording like a few different joints for my album, and we picked a different song, a song called Rock City, because the label at that time, Columbia, thought that that could be more of a single.
Originally, M planned to send Jay another track entirely, but he couldn't get to the tape with the beats he wanted to use. So running out of time, he hit up Royce and asked if he was cool to pass Renegade along to Jay Z instead. Royce was chill about it. He wasn't planning on using the song anymore, so he gave M the green light.
And at that time, M and Jay had already been talking about doing music together. So, he sent him that, and, Jay liked it, and he did it.
Eminem took Royce's verses off the track and sent it over to Jay. Since M already had his verses and the hook laid down, Jay just needed to write and record his parts in the spaces where Royce's verses used to be. Jay liked what he heard, recorded his vocals, and sent them back to M for mixing so the final product would sound clean and cohesive. According to Obi Trice in a 2013 Vlad TV interview, M actually felt relieved when he got Jay Z's vocals, like he was in a safe place.
I remember when he actually got the song back from Jay. To me, it mean that he was in a safe place on the record.
That basically meant he didn't feel like Jay had outshined him on the record. And years later, in a 2016 Vlad interview, Royce explained he had no hard feelings about Jay jumping on the track. He said once he passed it on for Rock City, the song wasn't his anymore.
Were you a little bit annoyed that your verse got taken off when you first heard it?
Nah, I wasn't annoyed because my verse wasn't taken off. You know, once we didn't use the song, it wasn't my song no more.
Interestingly, the original version, titled Renegades with an S, is still floating around online. Some people compare it to the final version with Jay Z, and the opinions are mixed. While there are some subtle changes in the production, most of the beats stayed the same. What really stands out is how the two versions feel different lyrically. Eminem's verse on both versions goes after middle and white America, while Jay Z's verses on the final version speak more to the black and urban experience. Back when the song was recorded, Eminem was easily one of the most controversial rappers out there. People were either obsessed with his music or outraged by it. A lot of that heat came from the wild, often violent and in-your-face lyrics he had on his second and third albums, the Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP. Those albums were packed with horrorcore-style rap that dove into some seriously dark stuff: graphic violence, murder, death, and taboo topics like homosexuality. M was pushing the boundaries and making people uncomfortable on purpose. Of course, not everyone saw it that way. A lot of parents and activist groups freaked out, saying this music was corrupting kids and glorifying the worst kind of behavior. There was even people trying to get his music banned altogether. Eminem, on the other hand, didn't take the criticism lightly. He fired back, saying, "Look, if your kid's acting up, that's on you, not me." He felt like he was being turned into a scapegoat, someone to blame, so society wouldn't have to take a harder look at its own problems, especially when it came to parenting. You can hear this frustration loud and clear in Renegade, where he spits, "Maybe it's hatred I spew, maybe it's food for the spirit, maybe it's beautiful music I made for you to just cherish, but I'm debated, disputed, hated, and viewed in America as a mother effing drug addict like you did an experiment."
It's beautiful music I made for you to just cherish, but I'm debated, disputed, hated, and viewed in America.
Jay Z wasn't immune to criticism either. After dropping Reasonable Doubt, which a lot of hip-hop heads consider a classic, some fans and critics started saying he had lost his way. They felt like he was rapping too much about flashy stuff, money, jewelry, the high life, and not enough about the real struggles that got him there. But Jay had something to say about that too. On Renegade, he reminds people that his come-up wasn't some fairy tale, it was survival. He grew up broke, surrounded by poverty, drugs, violence, and the pressure to do whatever it took just to get by. He raps, "I had to hustle, my back to the wall, ashy knuckles, pockets filled with a whole lot of lint, not a cent. Got a vent, lot of innocent lives lost on the project bench. What you hollering? Gotta pay rent, bring dollars in." In a 2017 interview with GQ, Jay talked about how rough things were growing up. He described it like being in a barrel full of crabs. Everybody's struggling to get out, but instead of helping each other up, they pull each other down. It was chaotic, dangerous, and stressful, and that pressure shaped who he became. Renegade was a powerful moment on the blueprint, but the album also stirred things up for another reason. Jay Z went straight at Nas and prodigy of Mobb Depp with a diss track, Takeover. He didn't hold back. At one point, he throws a shot at Nas's verse on the song Uchiwali, rapping, "Your bodyguard's Uchiwali verse better than yours. Matter of fact, you had the worst flow in the whole effing song."
To your bodyguard's Uchiwali's verse better than yours. Matter of fact, you had the worst flow on the whole.
Nas clapped back in Ether, one of the most infamous diss tracks in hip-hop history. And in that track, he dropped a bomb of his own. Eminem murdered you on your own.
Went from jazz to hanging with Kane to Herb to Big, and Eminem murdered you on your own.
That bar was one of the first times someone publicly pointed out what a lot of people had quietly thought, that Eminem may have actually out-rapped Jay Z on Renegade. The whole Renegade debate didn't just stop with Nas throwing that jab in Ether. Over the years, it actually grew into this massive talking point among hip-hop fans, like who really had the better verse on that track. And one of the reasons it stuck so hard is because Jay Z wrote and laid down his verses after Eminem did, which made it seem even more like M might have upstaged him on his own song. That kind of thing doesn't go unnoticed in hip-hop. Snoop Dogg, who's worked with both of them and knows the game inside out, even said at one point that Eminem bodied Jay on Renegade.
Like, damn.
Can't come out.
For killing yeah, but to have Eminem, the white boy, kill him on his shit, that was nerve-wracking. I was like, I don't want Eminem on my album. I'm cool.
Then you had Royce da 5'9", who's obviously tight with M, weigh in during a 2016 interview with Vlad TV. He said he felt Eminem attacked the beat harder than Jay Z did. No surprise there, considering Royce's longtime friendship and musical history with M, but still, another tally in M's column. What made it even more interesting is when folks you wouldn't expect to side with Eminem actually admitted he outdid Jay, like Irv Gotti of all people. Now, Irv's no friend of M. He was deep in that whole Murder Inc. versus G-Unit shady aftermath beef, but even he had to give M his props. On Drink Champs, he admitted that Eminem outshined Jay on that track.
Yes, he bodied Jay on Renegade. Eminem bodied Jay on Renegade.
That kind of honesty from someone on the opposite side of a historic feud, that just shows how undeniable M's performance was on Renegade. Now, for a long time, a lot of people assumed Jay Z didn't really care about all that talk, like he's Jay, he's too big to worry about petty debates. But apparently, that wasn't true. Word started going around that Jay did care, and maybe a little more than he let on. There were even rumors that he was intimidating certain folks who said M got the better of him on Renegade, allegedly pulling strings and using gang affiliations to silence some of that talk behind the scenes.
Jay come to the station. So Jay Z looked at me like, what you say about the song? Bro, all I said was, M outflowed you on the song. So he was like, I think you need to listen to it again. I'm walking in this long hallway, right? I see 20 people walking, black guys. So I look back, the crowd spread. Jay Z walked out the crowd, bro. He said, hey, you still think M outflowed me on that song?
And yet, publicly, he was still giving M his flowers, so there was definitely a duality there. Fast forward to 2018, Jay Z appeared on My Next Guest Needs No Introduction with David Letterman on Netflix. During the interview, he actually praised Eminem's skills, especially his cadence, calling it amazing.
Eminem just have amazing cadence, and it's almost like the syncopation, and like, I said backward, it's zag, it's zigzag, it's back, and it's zag, it's Z, and you know.
When the whole Renegade debate came up again, Jay kept it cool. He said he wasn't offended by people saying M outperformed him, acknowledging that Eminem is an incredibly smart and technical rapper. He even went on to say that he's outperformed a lot of people on tracks too, so if M got the upper hand on this one, it's not the end of the world. Jay also made a pretty solid point. He said that ever since Renegade, people have gotten obsessed with comparing verses anytime two rappers get on the same track. Instead of enjoying the song as a whole, fans immediately start dissecting it like it's a rap battle. In his eyes, that kind of thinking ruins the vibe. He also clarified he wants his collaborators to bring their best, that when someone like M kills a verse, it only makes the song stronger for everyone. 50 Cent versus Jay Z. But even with all that maturity and public praise, it's hard not to notice that the energy between Jay Z and Eminem has always had a weird edge to it. And M's never been the type to let things slide completely. Over the years, he's thrown subtle shots here and there. One big example that stirred up old tension came during the 2022 Super Bowl halftime show. At first, it looked like the lineup was solid: Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and Eminem. But something seemed off. 50 Cent, who's arguably one of Dre and M's biggest proteges, wasn't listed. Fans thought that was weird. Then 50 popped up as a surprise performer during the show, and the story behind it started to come out. According to 50, he wasn't originally invited. In fact, he straight up said they didn't want him there. He even posted about it on Instagram before deleting it, saying something along the lines of, "Eminem is the man, he wouldn't do the show without me." When The Hollywood Reporter followed up, 50 explained more, saying it was Jay Z's company, Rock Nation, who didn't want him on stage.
Like with Nori he had communication. He said, yeah, I talked to the big homie, he was saying, told Jay, he was telling me, you know, the white boy wouldn't do the truth without 50.
But Eminem made it clear, no 50, no M. He wasn't about to do the biggest show of the year without his guys, so 50 ended up performing anyway, and the whole thing just reignited the old rumors of tension between him and Jay Z, especially since 50 and Jay have had on and off rivalry for years. 50 Cent has never really held back when it comes to Jay Z. He's been throwing jabs at him for years, but during the whole Diddy situation, 50's energy toward Jay definitely turned up a few notches. Back in 2024, Jay-Z's name ended up getting dragged into the Diddy legal mess when a woman came forward and filed a lawsuit, accusing both Diddy and Jay-Z of inappropriate behavior from back when she was underage. The internet went into full meltdown mode once the story broke. Not surprisingly, Jay-Z quickly released a statement denying everything. He called the entire lawsuit an attempted blackmail and took aim at the woman's lawyer, Tony Busby, calling him a fraud. Naturally, reactions poured in, and right on cue, 50 Cent jumped in with his usual trolling flair. He posted on Instagram, "Okay, I don't know what's going on, but are we gonna still have the Super Bowl? I'm just asking for a friend." But that was just the beginning. In typical 50 Cent fashion, he escalated it. Not long after, he shared an AI-generated video showing Jay Z and Diddy getting arrested. He even captioned it, "I want to post this, but I'm afraid I'm gonna get shot, LOL." The post didn't last long. He deleted it, but not before the internet caught wind of it and started talking. Then, when Jay Z made a public appearance with Beyonce and their kids at the Lion King premiere, something they reportedly weren't planning to attend originally, 50 couldn't resist. Sources told the Post that Jay and Bey had no intention of being there, but after the lawsuit made headlines, they showed up anyway, almost like a strategic move to show everything was all good on the surface. Jay Z seemed calm, composed, and unbothered, but of course the trolls were watching, and 50 was leading the charge. He posted a photo of the Carters at the premiere and added his own spin. Jay said, "They said I rapped a kid. Everybody got dressed, be going to see Mufasa, LOL." Again, it was pure trolling, and again, it got deleted not long after, but not before fans screenshotted it and turned it into another meme moment in the ongoing 50 vs. Jay saga. But here's the twist. For a second, 50 showed what looked like genuine concern. In a rare moment during an interview, he actually offered what some called an olive branch. He said he hoped Jay Z was doing okay internally, dealing with the lawsuit and everything that came with it. That threw some fans off because it was one of the only times 50 had publicly expressed something that even slightly resembled empathy toward Jay. Still, no one was really fooled, because if you know 50 Cent, you know how he moves. He might say something positive in one breath, but he'll spin back around with a meme, a sarcastic comment, or a petty Instagram post not long after.